Hello everybody out there in YouTube land, and welcome to DC Fans United. So first off, real quick, I have a shout out for my friends over at Outright Geekery. It's a cool website, and I have a link for them in the description box. And they host my videos, so I really appreciate them. So, why do I love Superman? Well, there are quite a few reasons actually. While I do love the fact that he can fly, and I wish that I could fly myself, there are many superheroes, and even some villains who can do that. And he has many other admirable traits, such as courage and enormous strength. But there is a lot more to it than that. Now, he is well known for standing up for truth, justice, and the American way. But what does that mean? I think that it means probably different things for different people. So, with that in mind, and without projecting any of my own preconceptions of what truth and justice is, let's look back at some of Superman's actions from over the years. First off, I imagine that you are familiar with Superman's origin story. He was born on the planet Krypton, and as the planet was dying, his parents launched him away in a spaceship. He arrived on Earth in the United States, in the state of Kansas. And I bring this up because I believe his upbringing by Ma and Pa Kent, his adoptive parents, shaped how he interacted with humanity from here on out. In fact, there are Elseworld stories, which are alternate stories in the comics, so they're alternate from the main stories, and there's some that involve Superman crash landing in other places, such as into the Soviet Union during the Cold War, or into Nazi Germany, instead of the United States. And in those stories, Superman has a different outlook on things, to say the least. However, the Soviet Superman, who is in the story called Red Sun, has noble attributes himself. So as far as our Superman goes, I believe it was his good small-town farm upbringing and the guidance of his adoptive parents that shaped him into the kind and courageous man of tomorrow. And that's what we see from him time and time again. I'm always particularly amazed at his interactions with animals. Now, when you consider he has the strength to literally punch the moon out of orbit, you have to realize what an enormous amount of control he must have to pet a cat or a dog gently. He has also saved the Earth from destruction numerous times, but it's his little everyday actions that make Superman my favorite hero. You can see this from his friendships with people like Jimmy Olsen and his wife Lois Lane, and you can see that he is fully capable of relating to people on a personal level. And I also think it's interesting to note that in the current Rebirth DC comics, Superman and Lois Lane are married, and they have a super son themselves. So now Superman is shown in the fatherly role, and is shown as a great dad and husband. Repeatedly, he has been shown putting the needs of the weak, the helpless, and the starving ahead of his own. The story Superman Peace on Earth comes to mind as a great example of this. After helping to start the Christmas season in Metropolis, Superman finds a starving young woman, and that leads him to look up the topic of world hunger. Wanting to help, Superman proposes to the United Nations to help end world hunger through the gesture of spending a day delivering as much food as he can to settlements that need it anywhere on the planet. An idea met with significant controversy, but ultimately it is given the go-ahead. So, with tankers filled with food, Superman flies to starving and impoverished locations all over the Earth. And he is met with varying levels of gratitude, praise, fear, and frenzy. So that story is really interesting, and I really think it shows the most positive aspects that a hero can have. So another thing that I am amazed about is how Superman always managed to stay humble. He has nearly infinite strength, but he still takes time out for sick children or anyone else who needs him. Superman has fought many battles against superpowered villains who are even stronger than himself. He was even defeated by the supervillain Doomsday. However, even with so much against him, he never gives up and he never backs down from a challenge. And through all of this, he is always working to better understand the people that he watches over. In the story called Grounded, Superman is confronted with the notion that he has grown disconnected from everyday Americans that he has been committed to watching over, and that he doesn't truly know what his adopted people are like anymore. So, feeling a responsibility to his adopted homeland, he begins a long journey where he walks across the United States to reconnect to everyday people who he is committed to protecting. So why do I love Superman? Because he inspires me to be a better man tomorrow than I am today. Thanks for watching and for being a part of DC Fans United, and if you aren't subscribed, please subscribe.
End of line.